week 10 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few defense special team units I have as sleepers this week. The first one, the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs here travel to Las Vegas. And I know their defense has been pretty bad this season and not stopping anyone. But the last couple weeks in fantasy leagues, they've had some decent ball games. Week 8 versus the Giants, 17 points allowed, 3 sacks, an into on a fourth down stop. And week 9 versus the Green Bay Packers, 7 points allowed, a sack, an interception, a fumble recovery, a block kick, and a fourth down stop. I know that ball game didn't feature Aaron Rodgers in that one. He was out with the illness, and Jordan Love started that game. But right here in week 10 at Vegas, this is a big division game. Vegas, believe it or not, still in the hunt as well over here in this AFC West division. So right here, Kansas City's got to go out there, and they got to make a few plays, and I think they can versus Derek Carr, who we've seen turnover, or is a quarterback that just puts it up for grabs for those 50-50 balls, and sometimes it don't go his way. So I think the Chiefs in this one could get a few sacks, maybe an interception or two, and this defense has to play better if the Chiefs want to have a chance once again to make it to the Super Bowl. So this week I definitely could see a decent outing from this Chief team, and they're available in 62% of fantasy leagues, and they're definitely a defense that's a sleeper. The next defense is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Jaguars last week, they held down that Buffalo Bill offense to 6 points, which is definitely mind-boggling in that ball game. 6 points allowed, 4 sacks, 2 windows, a fumble recovery, and a fourth down stop. So this week at the Indianapolis Colts, we'll see what they could do. But obviously this Colt team has way superior at the running back position than the Bills were, with Jonathan Taylor over Singletary or Zach Moore. So right here, the Indianapolis Colts, it's going to be a tough matchup, I think. I don't expect a great game out of Jacksonville, but they're definitely a team that you could use as a sleeper option. After last week, they did the unthinkable, holding Josh Allen and that offense to no touchdowns in that game. So Jacksonville's available in 99% of fantasy leagues. And Carson Wentz, he's not a perfect quarterback. He's a quarterback that this season, definitely his turnovers have gone down, but we've seen him still make a few boneheaded plays and throw some interceptions. And I think Jacksonville maybe could have a 6 to 9 point fantasy day this week. And the third and final defense I have as a sleeper option is the Los Angeles Chargers. So the Minnesota Vikings go to Los Angeles this week. And this Viking offense, it's been puzzling and a weird season for them, in my opinion. So I think the Chargers here, their defense is pretty good. Obviously, you got Bosa in that defense. You got Asante Samuel Jr., and you got Derwin James as well, who's been a pretty decent safety in his NFL career when he's healthy. And the Charger defense, I know for fantasy purposes, over the last few weeks have done nothing. Week 6 at Baltimore, 6. Week 8 versus the Patriots, 5. And then last week at Philly, 1. But right here, Minnesota, like I mentioned, their offense hasn't been clicking on all cylinders. And on the road, they especially haven't gotten the job done as Minnesota this season. So right here, the Chargers, I think, can make a few plays on Kirk Cousins. And they're a decent sleeper option available in 75% of fantasy leagues. So that's a few defense special team units I have as sleeper options for week 10 of the fantasy football season.